everyone, it's Danielle Marie from the One Realty here in Austin, Texas with your monthly update of where the Austin real estate market is. So first and foremost, we're talking about the month of June, and June year over year had a phenomenal increase. So in June 2026, we sold 10.64% more, so almost 11% more homes in the month of June than we did the prior year. So I'm Danielle Fountain, the founder of the One Realty, where we take a data-driven, all-in-one approach to real estate. So we're going to really hop into the nitty-gritty details of what is happening in the Austin real estate market for the month of June. Now, you're probably going, why are we talking about it in June? We're already at the end of July. And that's because sales a lot of times do not get reported for weeks on end. There is delay. So I want to give you the most accurate number that you're going to see for Austin, Texas. Also, keeping in mind, a lot of times when you see numbers online and you see their average number, they're either talking about the Metroplex of Austin, or they're including not just single family houses, but condos, they're including townhouses, land, everything. Today, we are solely focusing on single family homes in the city of Austin. So without further ado, we are going to hop into it. So like I said, Austin, we closed 10.64% more houses this year. So we closed 915 houses in June compared to last year. We closed 827. Now, that sounds great. It sounds nice. Last year was it was a bad year. Last year was not a great year. So me saying that does not give you full context. If we want to look at the historical average, so if we want to look for, and I started tracking these numbers since it became available all the way back to 2005 were the numbers. So from 2005 until today, we're still operating as far as the yearly average, we're still operating almost 25% below what we did from 2005 until last year, where we should have been operating into the number of sales. So you can see this down here. Here's our historical monthly sales. Our average in June, we're typically over 1,200 sales, both our average and our median. If we look back and see kind of where was our high, where was our low? Well, in 2024, we only closed 689 houses compared to our historical high in 2006, where we closed 1,787 homes. So pretty big extremes. If you look at where we were with our high at 1,787 homes, I mean, we just closed a little bit over half of that. So not huge numbers, but at the end of the day, we'll take the win. We'll take the increase in sales year over year with that. Also, when we talk about year over year, where do we show up in pricing? So it's been kind of a very interesting spring. We've not seen big swings in pricing. We've just kind of seen, itty bitty incremental increases. So year over year, our average sales price is at $874,000, which is a $32,000 increase from last year. So just under 4%. If we look at our median sales, we're at 650,000, which is 15,000 more than last year. If we want to compare, so this is kind of my year over year data that you're seeing right here. If we want to compare month over month, so how did we do compared to May? You can see compared to May, we sold 30 fewer homes. So we really saw our peak number of buyers happening in the springtime, which is normal, which is why when you list your house, you need to make sure you are aware of what time of year it is. So if we're listing your house and we know that our peak buyers are really out in March and April timeframe, we want to make sure we hit that when we list your house. If we're seeing the buyers going down, which is what we're seeing now, you're going to have a smaller buyer pool is what you're going to see. And that's ultimately going to also affect your pricing, because you're also probably going to see an increase in the number of listings coming to the market and those listings stacking on because they're not selling. So that being said, month over month, we are down in regards to the number of closed sales. So we're down 3.17%. We're down 30 houses. We are up though for our pricing. So our average price, you'll see right here, up 15 grand. Our median's up 20 grand. So we're still seeing a kind of an upward trend, nothing drastic. I really also like to look to see, okay, where are we for the month? Where are we for last month? And where do we compare to typically our worst month of the year is December. People are getting screaming deals in December. People are also throwing away their properties if they are forced to sell. Maybe it's also for tax purposes that they take that loss ahead of time. So with that, if we compare to where we were in December, our average sales price is up $53,000, which is 5.86%. Our median price is up 6.56% for 65,000. That being said, this is normal. We typically see that increase going all the way through kind of the summer months. And then if we're going to see price decreases, we're really going to see that data coming in July. So we'll be paying attention to see where are we with July's data. Are we going up? Are we going down? Where are we? The other key factor that we really like to look into is how much are sellers giving? Are sellers drastically dropping their prices? And we can tell that by the closed price to list price ratio. So there's two ratios. There's the closed price, which is what we're closing at compared to list price, what it's currently listed at. And then we have closed price to original list price. So when it first came on the market. And so you're going to kind of see these numbers right here that we're talking about, the closed price to list price. And you're seeing for our closed price to list price, we're looking at 2 to 2.5% is under list price is what you're selling for. If we look at the original list price, you're looking at 3 to 4.5%. So there is a little bit of room there as far as what you're receiving from the sellers. That being said, what is also very interesting is the reason we're going to see these numbers typically go up is when these numbers are days on market go down. So when days on market go down for sales, that means houses are selling closer to when they're first listed, sooner to when they're first listed. So we are seeing here, we're seeing our median was 21 days on the market. Our average was 44 days on the market. If we look at where we were in December, you can see it's almost a month less on both accounts. So we're saying we're selling it a month faster on both accounts compared to December. Now, if you are selling your house and you're listing your house in the next few months, keep this in mind when you're pricing. Pricing is so incredibly important. You're already going to see, and this is from data, we're going to see that it's going to take a little bit longer to sell in the upcoming months. So that dream price that you had in March and April, they might not be there when you're listing it in September, October timeframe. You need it when you're talking to an agent. This is not necessarily the fun thing. Make sure your agent is telling you the truth in regards to what does that timeline look like? How does my price impact it because I'm listing it today versus listing it in March and April? Understand that those comparable houses that they're giving you for your sales, those might have happened 90 days ago when the market was hot. You might be going into a cold market. It just is going to depend on where your house is, what is the demand in that area, how much inventory is going on. So overall, for the month of June, we saw year-over-year increase. We saw 10% increase in the number of sales. We saw almost 4%, 3.5%, 4% in regards to the price point. We saw a decrease in the number of days on market, meaning they were selling quicker this year than last year. And then also, if we look at our closed price to original list price, if you look at these ratios right here, you're going to also see this is a year-over-year data. We did better. So this past June was stronger than last year's. If we look at May, we had fewer sales, but we didn't see any dramatic decrease in prices. So we actually had a better, I say, as far as the sales data for dollar prices. And now I say better is from a seller's perspective. For a buyer, you're like, I want it to go down. If you're a buyer, hang in there. That's what we're probably about to see over the next few months. You're going to see prices soften and go down. So with that, it's really important to understand where you are buying and where is your buy box. You really want to drill into it. So I'm giving general data. We're talking general numbers. Our median sales price was $650,000. Our average sales price was $874,000 here in Austin. When you drill down into your specific areas, that's going to change. If you are looking out in the Bee Cave or Terrytown or Westlake area, it's going to be completely different than if you're looking closer to like a Buda, a Kyle, parts of East Austin. It's going to look different than if you're in Mueller. Depending on where you are, you really need to understand if you're buying, what is happening in your little niche area, if you're selling at the same time. Not only looking at what's happened in your niche area for the past couple of months, but what happened the past 2 years, the past 3 years. What happened as those months slow down? Did we see a drop in prices? Use history to kind of predict what may happen so that you make an educated decision for both buying and for selling. So with that, my name is Danielle Fountain. I'm the founder of The One Realty. If you are looking to buy or sell here in Austin, I'm happy to reach out to me and we can do a consult to talk about how we kind of make the real estate goals align with your own personal goals. So with that, have a wonderful day. Bye.